Hello everyone and welcome back to combat mission Shock Force 2 with today a Canadian force once again attacking a Syrian force. This time we are rocking a Canadian mechanized company reinforced by 5 Leopard 2A6 main battle tanks. So that's a pretty heavy tank force we've got with us there. The enemy has a depleted mechanized infantry battalion. It's only got 1 or 2 companies worth of infantry and BMPs left. It has been reinforced, however, by some tanks and by a fair few ATGM teams with AT-14 ATGMs, which are relatively modern by Syrian standards. So they are going to be our chief problem, because it's a lot of open fields here before we get to the town, and those ATGMs will brew up these LAVs in a heartbeat. Not to mention, if they have tanks in here, they can also easily take out our LAVs. That's why I'm going to move up the Leopards first into an overwatch position, and only move with the infantry carriers when I think it's safe to do so. I will move them up, however, to a kind of a jump off position right about here, where they still can't be spotted by the enemy, but they can move quickly into this next dip in the ground, which is mostly covered from the village, which, by the way, is our main objective here. However, there's still that hill up there that could contain ATGMs or tanks or BMPs or whatever, so I want to make sure I've neutralized that at least. Even if I don't take this, I want to make sure I've got eyes on it. We've also got this road here which we need to capture, and I think I'll do that with this infantry platoon here once it's safe to do so. I've got another 2 Leopards set to get moving up here, along with a single platoon of infantry. The reason I've done that is because I want them to fight their way, or actually sneak their way, up the side of this hill. And all of the way here they're not going to be visible to the enemy. And then once they're here, they've got a beautiful view down into the village. Now obviously I want to move the tanks first, have them take any of the ATGMs that might be fired at us, and only move up the infantry and the LAVs later when I think it's safe to do so. We can also start engaging any targets on that hill from this one. So that's why I'm kind of splitting up my forces here, which can be a dangerous thing to do, but I'm hoping that it'll pay off. I'm also moving this for observer section right all the way up to this high hill here. We don't have any artillery or air support, but they can still spot enemies and relay that information to the tanks. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I got 3 tanks moving up here, because right here is a nice little flat area with just a tiny bit of a rise in the terrain where we can pop up with just our turrets exposed, which are heavily armored and unlikely to be penetrated even by the enemy's ATGMs. If we do take ATGM hits, though, they will degrade the optics and exterior modules on the tank, so I'd really like to avoid that if at all possible. I have to stage them up here first, and our 3rd platoon, by the way, will remain in reserve, and we'll use them on whichever side we're making the best progress. Probably over here, because it allows us to be covered by terrain for most of the way up until we're the last couple hundred meters up to the village, at which point we will be exposed. It's that final assault which will be the most dangerous and the most costly, so I'm hoping we can avoid it and maybe beat the enemy into submission from a distance. Alright, we got 3 tanks up here. That's good. Let's get these guys out of their transport, moving up the hill. All the way up there. However, they should not fire at anything. Okay. Let's micromanage these tanks into position here. This one right all the way up to here. So we can pop them all up at the same time and get as much firepower as we can to bear on the enemy. There's a good chance that the enemy will be able to get the first shots off in this engagement. Because they are probably hidden within that town. And they've probably got ATGMs set up inside or on top of buildings, between buildings. And that's going to be a challenge for us. Spotting and taking out those ATGM teams. These tanks, I think I'm first. I'm going to move them up first. As high as we can get. And then try to make sure they're held down. Firing into the village. Let's take care of that then. All the way up here. I'm hoping, by the way, that the enemy doesn't have any forces set up over there. It will be a bit of a bummer. I could get side shots into my tanks, so actually, let's keep them back for now. We've got plenty of time, 2 hours. Hope we won't need the full 2 hours. I'm gonna go about this a bit carefully. There could definitely be troops around here. Since this is an objective, the enemy probably has the option to deploy forward. So they're not all gonna be in that village, I'm afraid. Our observer team is moving up. Okay. Things are sort of in position. Let's wait for this guy. We've got some nice cage armor, by the way, which will help if they ever have to get into the town against any RPG hits. Alright. We're in position to start moving up here. Right up there. I may not have a shot from there, but rather be too careful and lose a tank because he exposes its lower places to an ATGM. Speak up. There we go. It's probably a BMP firing an ATGM. Yeah, let's have this guy face towards that. Hopefully quick enough to make sure he takes it on the chin and not in the side. This guy's actually spotted it. He might be the one that it's targeting. So let's have him reverse down the slope and hope that that's a that's not a fire and forget missile. I don't think it is. Check out that BMP. I'm not seeing any missiles coming in. It's 2 BMPs up on that hill. 3 actually. 2 of them we've taken out. Not sure how we were able to see that one. It's kind of in a reverse slow position. Not entirely. Got another one up here. And we were already spotting some stuff inside the village. Let's make sure this guy's taken out before we move the tanks up any further. That's a pretty big boom. I'm wondering if that was actually one of the tanks firing into the ground here. I don't think it was. Must have been some kind of return fire. Okay, that's dead. Let's move the tanks, make sure that guy isn't fighting alone. Face him that way, just in case we get incoming from over there. Alright, now we're doing on the left. Good enough, I think. Let's actually get these tanks moving up. Doesn't seem like there's anything over here. There we are. Forward observers are still getting in position. Pretty tired already climbing that hill. Understandably so. We're already engaged over here with enemy BMPs on the edge of town. Some of them in some pretty nice keyhole positions there. We're able to spot those and take those out ahead of time. No tanks to be seen yet, and we're not seeing any ATGMs coming in. May have spoken too soon there. Not sure whether that was an ATGM. You can already see it's degrading the optics and exterior modules on that tank. That's kind of the one I wanted to avoid. Because they may not be able to destroy the tank entirely. There we got another ATGM coming in. These AT-14s are pretty dangerous. Actually set up pretty in an advanced position here, next to the road. Very exposed, you may be able to take them out. Just pin them, there we are. It's absolutely destroyed. So I'm not going to be firing anymore. Even though we've got fire superiority right now, I'm still hesitant to push up the LIVs. Just takes a single hit to take those out, and I am slightly more worried about these tanks up here now. It seems that the enemy may have some defenses set up next to this road here. Hang on, what did this guy just fire at? Again, we got a BMP right all the way up there. Okay, you reverse, you reverse. Get your front armor pointed towards those targets. Come on, reverse. There's a really advanced BMP up there. That's probably an ATGM. Please don't kill my tank. It missed. I think there was an ATGM at least. And they seem to be setting those guys up pretty far forward. 3 of those teams right here. 4 actually. 2 of which have already been taken out. Sometimes I just really don't understand the AI. Oh no, I almost thought we'd lost the tank. It's just kind of lost the icon there. Well, no, okay, it's all right. I was confused because they looked like an infantry team here with those weapons. All right, doing good. Receiving quite a lot of return fire here. Leopards are in a pretty good flanking position should anything pop up here. Let's show what this guy's doing. These guys are now routing. There we have another ATGM team. We really forward deployed those guys. Which makes me glad that I didn't push the LAVs up just yet, but if they use all of those advanced ATGMs up front, they won't be able to use them from ambush positions inside the city. This guy took a hit right on the chin, degrading the optics right there. Might have been this guy. Yeah. Looks like he just launched a missile. Not gonna launch anymore though, and there... Okay. That's T-62, I think. I think that's a T-72 with some. Well, it's a relatively advanced tank. It's got explosive reactive armor. It's not going to stand up to a Leopard, but it is very dangerous for LAVs. See who's spotting that. Okay, that's our forward observer team. Understandably. Do hope they aren't gonna get spotted. Would be serious trouble for us. Okay, so we know our one tank is at least. Let's just keep engaging, taking out those ATGM teams. There's another possible tank contact, so it might be where the other one is. Jeep. The enemy has deployed very far forward of that village. What I would have done was turtle up in there and ambush my vehicles with ATGMs from long range. They just set them up in the open. Oh boy, it looks like they have actually destroyed a Leopard, probably with an ATGM. Can't quite see where that went in. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. Right here. Just next to the driver's viewport, I think. Probably hit a weak spot here. At least I'm assuming it's an ATGM. Must have come from... Couldn't have been the tank, could it? Well, theoretically, I think it might have been this tank. It's got line of sight. Might just have been able to penetrate that weak spot right there. It's very unfortunate. That's a lot of our firepower lost right there. Lost one of the crewmen as well. I wasn't really expecting that. I was kind of cocky with these tanks, thinking they could take anything from the front. It's not entirely true, I guess. Alright. This guy's still up. I'd rather have him taken out before I move these tanks up any further. What are we doing on ammo? Pretty good. Still. Don't want to move these guys up as long as there's still ATGMs over there. Don't want to move anyone up here with the tank. So far it's still gonna be a matter of exchanging fire with enemy armor and ATGM teams. Hopefully without any further losses to our tanks. It's a really unfortunate kill there. Got an Eaglet team there. It's not going to be much use for them. I'd rather have you facing that way. That's where the ATGMs are at. Hang on. Got another tank here. Another one of those T-62s, I think. Only spotted by these guys though. So keep that in mind. Really in a position to hurt them now. Okay. What I might want to do is push these tanks up here. Once they're up here, they will be able to get side shots into that armor. Let's give that a go. Let's hope we've taken enough of these ATGMs out to be able to do this. Oh, crikey. Got another tank taken out here. Probably by an ATGM. Christ, okay. going a lot worse than I expected. That's probably the guy that did it. Now that's an intelligently set up ATGM. That's got a long distance to fire. A long distance from the enemy. It's not going to get spotted that easily until it fires. Unlike these guys up here. These guys, however, will be covered from that side by this little hill. Let's make sure they are, though. Yeah, they are. God damn it. That's 2 leopards. It's too much. Really wasn't expecting that one. I was expecting to lose a lot of LAVs once I pushed them up. I really wasn't expecting these leopards to be in that much danger. Let's have a look, by the way, what killed it. Let's see. Where did this guy get penetrated? You can see this huge black mark here, but I don't think that's a penetration. Might be. Sure how yeah, actually. If that was the ATGM right up on that hill, it might have gotten a shot into this plate where it this is probably pretty thick point in the armor. But because of the angle at which it hit, probably a little bit from above, and at a straight angle, it probably was able to penetrate. The enemy is getting some really lucky shots in with the few ATGMs that they're getting off. Okay. This guy's aiming at something, I think. Let's let him. Okay, that's still ATGMs up there. Unfortunately saw that one coming. As a team that we already killed one of the members of and is now dead. Okay, thank God. Hope that was the last one. Alright. Slowly moving up here. These are some very dangerous ATGMs. Those AT-14s are a lot more deadly than the older Soviet or Russian type ATGMs. Let's try and get into a position where we can take out those tanks while keeping an eye on that hill so you expose yourselves too far. Tank sighted. Take it out. There we go. That is no longer combat effective. That guy is dead. So spotted the BMP here. There's just BMP ones, by the way, which are really aged vehicles that really have no more place on the modern battlefield. I was hoping I'd be able to spot that tank down there. Can you see it? Not quite. Should be able to though. This position. Let's give them a little bit more time. Let the smoke clear. Let's also start getting this first platoon of infantry up on that hill. Shooting at the infantry, not at the tank. A little bit further. We don't want to expose to that hill. Just take that out. No, we did. Oh god, okay, the ATGM seems to have a shot here. Not sure if it already fired. Might have. As long as that's pinned, I'm okay. I'll leave this tank here. Tank is still there, not spotted. They're taking out some other BMPs though. I do, however, want to pull this guy back because I don't want him exposed to the ATGM team. Fortunately, I haven't been seeing any other ATGMs coming in here. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that's the last team here, because we already took out like 4 over here, 1 over here. There's 1 more over here that we know of, so that's already 6 teams at least. Before. I really hope they don't have a lot more than that. I'm probably gonna risk it here. I'll move up the LAVs just to the crest, unload them, and then move them into fire position. Going to risk it. Let's make sure though that we give this infantry a lot of ammunition, because they're gonna be the ones providing fire support onto that village. It's pretty long range, like 500 meters plus. So the 5.56 weapons won't be very effective. I may use these guys though to move up further, up to here, or if the going's good, into the village. Spotting an ATGM there. He's seeing that. See where that's at. Okay. I don't know what they're doing. They're not facing in the right direction. They're also unable to shoot at anything up there. They are able to shoot up to the hill though. This guy can't quite see that. Unfortunately. Let's also see from what angle we would best approach. I think what I'd like to do is set up the LAVs up here, so they can delete anything in this area without being too exposed to the village. So let's do that with the first platoon here. They're in a position where they can do that. I'll unload them before I push them over the ridge though. Because a single RPG will be enough to give them a very bad day. Let's huddle these poor crewmen together. Must be traumatizing to lose a tank like that. Pushing down the hill here, probably running away. And that AT team is still up. Who can see it? Probably my forward observers. Is that no, it's not an intact BMP. Right. Kinda need this guy gone. Can you fire at it? Yes you can. Let's hit that with a heat round. Missed that with a heat round. Okay, you can now see the target here. It's good. For it. Seems to be loading that ATGM. Okay, he didn't survive that. Okay, that target. It's another team taken out. Still have this tank up here though. With that team taken out, I am gonna risk moving this guy a little further forward. To the point where you can possibly see that T-62. Hang on. Why are you out of your LAV? Did I accidentally give you an order instead of your LAV? It might have. Okay. Let's give these guys... Let's actually not overburden them with ammo. They've only got 4,000 rounds of 5.56. It's a lot. It's 500. per person. It's a lot of ammo. I didn't add that to them. That's what they came with. So actually I'll leave them be as they are, ammo-wise. Still got a mortar team here, 60 mils. This could come in handy. Let's definitely make sure we disembark all of them. Figure out what to do with them later. Because again, their firepower isn't going to be much use firing at the village there. I'm going to use the LAVs for that. How are we doing on this side? Okay, you can see him. Still can't be seen by that tank. Alright, infantry is out. Let's find a place for those LAVs to go. Tucked in nicely between the tanks. What's it gonna take for you to spot that thing? Should be invisible. Still spotted it. There's a lot of smoke here. Still focusing on infantry right there. See if that tank is reacting. It isn't. We'll be able to open fire. Interesting. Alright. LAVs still doing a-okay. Don't have a great view of the area though. Move them up carefully. Like so. Keep the infantry held back there. Up here on the right. Do the same thing. Unload all the infantry. Just for safety. I think I prefer to use these mortars just as direct fire weapons, in the sense that I won't call in any fire missions with them. I'll just make sure they can see their targets visually and fire at them individually. There we are. We finally did spot it and took it out. Okay, so that's all the tanks we've seen so far, and all the BMPs we've seen so far, and also mostly all of the ATGMs, I think, except for the one that's hiding in the village there. I'm really bummed about losing those 2 Leopards though. I mean, already losing 2 Leopards. It's basically the value of an entire Syrian tank battalion. Very hard to make good on that loss. Given the distance here, I'm almost tempted to open these LAVs up if their commanders stick their heads out of the hedges. I'll refrain from doing that just now. Let's see what the distance to that hill is. About 400, also 500 meters. Difficult for the infantry to make a difference there. Infantry has disembarked, however, which means I'm gonna move up. Can't move in there. Move up to the crest of this hill. Peek over, see what we can see. Hopefully only dead Syrians. So he's actually have a pretty limited ammo supply. But there's 25 mils. Let's see. Okay, we have spotted an ATGM team, but the ATGM itself is knocked out, so they're not very much of a danger anymore. There we go. Actually have platoon command up to here. Or there's a machine gun with them. If these aren't opening up, maybe he surrendered. No, it's just still lying prone with his gun. We've got a pretty nice crossfire set up right now. Actually, it's not much of a crossfire with just this tank up here. I think I might... I'm gonna move up these command LAVs. I'll move out the battle group commander, the company commander, this LAV captain. And I'll move these LAVs up to where these tanks are, so we'll get some extra firepower up there. Should be safe now that we've taken out the ATGM teams. An RPG from here is not going to do much. It's not even going to hit, probably. Okay, these guys are out, it seems. Almost. There we are. Move them up as well. These guys are still in reserve now. I'm able to spot a surprising number of enemies. Okay, we get 2 knocked out ATGM teams there. That's the advantage of being able to look down into this village. This guy dead yet? He's not. Did receive some penetrating hits from LAVs though. These guys are being lit the hell up. They won't live long. Okay, first LAV is also up. Let's see. An okay view from here. A little bit further. To there. LAV up there. This guy next to the Leopard. This guy on the other side of the Leopard. Some nice increase in firepower right there, making up for some of what we've lost with those 2 Leopards. pretty confident we've taken out enough of the enemy, or at least suppressed them to the point where I could move my reserve platoon through between here, be exposed for a little bit crossing here, down into this dip, and up behind this hill. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let's move them up in position. Oh, what an unfortunate loss. They're completely burned out though, they might be recoverable. Well, you don't know what the damage is on the inside. It can look pretty okay on the outside, but the inside could be completely ruined by the shell exploding, or the ATGM missile exploding on the inside. Anything moves in that village, it's getting engaged from multiple sides by 25mm chain guns, Leopard main guns, machine guns. And we've got a pretty nice fire superiority here.
Yes, sir.
Alright, these guys are setting up. This guy, I'm not sure what he's doing. I think he's stuck in the mud here. Let's have give him a slow command. Well and truly bogged. Okay. A slow command over there, he'll get there eventually, I hope. Alrighty. I think that hill's gonna be pretty much cleared of anything. There's possibly some infantry left back here. Nothing that could be a substantial threat, I think. These guys have been pretty useful here, spotting. See if all our LAVs have a nice field of fire. I think they do. Yep. Alright. This guy has gotten himself out of his predicament. So let's move him up next to these guys and then move them all up at the same time. Over this hill. Down into this dip. Behind this. Cover. There he is. Okay. We will make that a fast command though. Just to make sure they run that gauntlet as quickly as possible. Alright. See if they make it. Trick is to move past the skill zone before any enemy ATGM teams have time to get a missile off. So I'm giving them the fast move command, which does run the risk of getting them bogged down, but let's hope it doesn't. No incoming yet. So far so good. Alright. Excellent. In that case, we can start unloading the infantry, putting them in fire support positions here. If they get shot at from town, there's a lot of fire support on this hill and behind them to support. So I feel safe doing that. Let's push him up. Once again, I'm not handing out extra ammo because I think they've got plenty. Don't want to burden them too much. Once I do get into the town, however, I might give some of them small anti-tank rockets, because there might be some BMPs left hiding between these buildings, or even some tanks. Apparently they don't have to set that weapon up. Again, we'll use the mortar in a direct fire rule. Move up the LAVs once they're out. Once again, ATGM spotted. And he is set up. Who's seeing this guy? You are. But you can't hit him. It's unfortunate. Could you? Yes, you can. Anything that can't fire over here will fire over here. That guy is extremely dangerous right now. Alright, let's observe. That's a miss. That's a lot of misses. He is suppressed though. Closer. So let him get a shot up with that damn thing. For all your accuracy, you're failing me right now. It's because I gave them an area target. Okay, that was a hit. I'm gonna keep them firing because it's such an important target right here. He might be out of ammo. I'll make sure he's dead. There we go, finally. They cost a lot of 25mm ammo. And I think 2 heat shells from the Leopard. But dead he is. Alright. There we are, we're getting some return fire from the Syrians. Inside the village, they're gonna regret that decision. Because fire support immediately opens up on them. Absolutely annihilating them. Vic up here, and one up here. And mortar probably shouldn't be the most forward unit. Let's have the infantry moving a little bit further. These guys probably can't see anything from here. Move them up as well. Them too. We are. So to be set up here nicely. Not receiving any significant amounts of fire here.
Quiet down. Let's get some noise this one here.
Very nice. What I got left up here, some machine gun teams. Apparently that Igla was part of a machine gun team. Not sure how that works. Still get all this infantry up here we're not using, but I'd rather keep them back for now. I think I will load this infantry up back up again in a minute. Move them forward up to here. And they can start moving up to the edge of the village here. That way they'll be at the bottom, and whatever is right here won't be able to fire at them. And these guys can be fire support instead of the actual assault team, because they can cover much of the edge here. I do want them in a bit better of a position though. A bit further forward, a bit higher up. There. There. So guys are in an okay position, as are these. You can move up there for a better shot. He's already moving. Alright. Let's also get the platoon commander up there. His forces will think he is a coward. Alright, everyone back in. Still alive apparently, but the ATGM is knocked out, and that's what it's about. That guy received the GDP of a small African country in a matter of seconds. Alrighty. Let's see what kind of a shot these guys have at the village. They are able to shoot into this part, but they can't really cover that part. So assaulting from there might actually not be the best idea. Because I'm also pretty worried about making a frontal assault like this, because it makes us so exposed. On the other hand, we will be able to cover, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'll move up the platoon over here, up to here, and assault straight through here to the edge of the village, unload the infantry there. And that's a very big risk, but we're gonna have to attack sometime. Let's move them into position. I want to make sure we're at least contesting that objective. It's gotten rather quiet. Let's have one LAV keep an eye on that hill full time. Have the rest of our fire support teams move up. Theoretically, there could be something on the reverse side of this slope that the fire support can't quite see. Some infantry maybe, but I don't think there will be. We've gotten so close, we would have spotted them. See much from there. Up front. So allow us to move up the APCs a little bit further. Heard a boom. I think it was a secondary explosion. That BMP. Okay. For the moment of truth, I guess. Actually, before we go, let's make sure that there's no hidden RPG teams in front of this village, because they're still, let's see, about 300 meters away from our fire support position, so they may not be firing those RPGs even if they are in there. So I prefer actually to make sure there's nothing in here that's gonna poke me while I assault down into that village. Let's get some massed firepower going on here. Hit especially those front buildings. Like that. Perhaps even cover with these guys. I'm not sure what they can see. Some of the buildings further back, I guess. Give no one the chance to cause casualties in that assault force. Alright. Fire support set up. Let's haul ass right up to the edge of the village and unload the infantry there. A bold move, perhaps. One that I feel I'm gonna have to make at some point, so I might as well do it now that the enemy is stunned. Let's see. These guys are faster, I'm gonna have these guys stop firing. Yeah. Because they'll probably friendly fire the shit out of those assaulting troops. Okay, and there we are. The assault was not necessary. We have won, destroying 2 tanks, 17 BMPs, and 1 jeep, I guess. We have lost 4 men killed, 2 tanks lost, and I think those 4 men killed were all tank crew. Because we got 3 guys left in this tank crew, so they lost 1. 1 guy left here, they lost 3. So that's 2 Leopards and the equivalent of 1 crew lost. That's a high price, but because of their sacrifice, my infantry did not need to slug it out in an urban environment. The enemy was already mostly pushed out of town, I see. Still had 1 ATGM team left with 1 ATGM, but they were in no position to return fire. This guy's ATGM was knocked out, as we saw. His flank was completely clear. The enemy only had infantry left, no more vehicles. Completely annihilated those. Some infantry left back here, that's relatively untouched. But most enemy squads did get engaged and received casualties throughout the course of this battle. They were outgunned from the start. Their major asset were those AT-14 ATGM teams, some of which they used effectively. They took out 2 of these main battle tanks, which is an impressive feat. But a lot of them they just put down right in the open here, where they could get easily spotted and taken out before they could open fire. Had they intelligently distributed those things onto rooftops or between buildings or whatever, so they'd have keyhole firing positions like right here, I would have been in a lot of trouble, because I wouldn't have been able to put down the fire that I am now, because I simply wouldn't have dared push up my vehicles, because they would immediately get knocked up in ATGM. So that chief strength that the enemy had, they kind of threw away. They didn't position their vehicles very intelligently, and well, you know, I'm criticizing the AI's intelligence here, and I realized that AI intelligence in this game isn't very high, which is one of the reasons I was able to win this game without even having to get into the town. But still. So apart from those 2 tank losses, I think This is a pretty good result. The infantry is still a-okay. No losses among the LAVs, which I was worried about because of their light armor. We were able to take out all of those ATGMs. Almost all of them. And that's what saved us, I think. Alright, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.